fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Q Show here, and now, whenever we last left off with this series, it's, well, been a minute actually. So, let me get you guys caught up on everything so you guys don't have to catch up on the last 3 parts to this, which were released almost a year ago. Now, my bad. I completely forgot the series existed, to be honest. And I've, well, been a bit busy dealing with stuff. Now, with that being said, Deku basically discovered, after 2 spirits went into his body, Rava and, well, Vatu, the dark and light spirits of the Avatar, good and evil, that he was the Avatar. Shocker. Now, because of these 2 spirits basically being bonded to Deku right before he was born, this gave him a unique connection to the Avatar world, or the spirit world, if you will. And Deku, he, well, has a unique connection to the previous users or wielders of the Avatar spirits. Now, Deku, at the age of 6 years old, he spent a lot of time learning firebending. And after hitting a spot where he couldn't learn very much more, they did allow him to get sent back home, as Deku was going to be living with his parents for a bit of time, and then he would move on to the next element. Now, I said he was going to learn earthbending in this part, or in the last part. However, let's change that, since Deku, being the Avatar, has to learn them in order. Now, there is water, earth, fire, and then air. And Deku, he does currently move on to air. Now, we do have where Deku, he does return back to the Air Nomad's Temple, about around the age of 7 to 7.5 years old. Now, this was quite intriguing to Deku. Being here's kind of strange. And, yeah, he's not really too sure what to even really say or do. The fact of the matter is, he's, not really able to adjust as easily to what these guys do. These guys, they eat vegetarian diets. They do things Deku's not used to. They live more of a minimalistic lifestyle. And they barely hold on to possessions. Now, Deku's kind of weirded out by all this at the start. He doesn't know how they do all of this. And he's, well, a firebender. He's born to use the fire of his soul. However, these people, they, they're like wind. They move and adjust to the situation. And they make sure that they're able to easily move throughout life. If you could put it into words, or even a cheesy little pun, breeze right through it. Now, with that being said, we do actually cut up to Deku, as it's been about almost an entire year, or just a little bit over that, and Deku's actually closer to the age of 9 years old. Now, about around this time, Deku, he has started to pick up on airbending, as we do actually have today. Deku is supposed to be taking a class. However, right now, he's actually listening to avatars, or at least a previous earthbending avatar, as Deku's currently sitting on the floor to his room, where he does have the blanket spread out on the ground, and even, well, a cup of water. Now, that's all Deku's tiny room does consist of. And there is even the fact that this place, they don't really have proper windows. In fact, the wind blows right through this place. The nights are cold, but Deku, even using firebending, or at least a firebender's technique, he has found a way to keep himself warm. However, the only problem is he can't really sleep with his blanket. Otherwise, that could catch on fire. Now, the air nomads do want to teach Deku this technique. However, it is actually a bit of an advanced one, and it will be one of the 30 Deku will have to learn. And Deku's currently at least learned about 5 different airbending techniques. As we do get back to Deku's meditation. As Deku, he actually is sitting there. A deep breath in, and a nice slow breath out. As Deku, he does have his hands directly put together. And you do actually hear somebody, they do go to knock on Deku's door. Now, Deku, he hardly even recognizes the knock even happened, as it was like the sound of running water to him. Now, you do actually have after the person did go to knock on the door, they did try to knock again, just a little bit louder, before finally going to open it. Now, as they do that, there actually is whenever they do walk forwards and go to try and get Deku's attention. Find that Deku, he's actually deep within his thoughts. Now, you actually have where somebody, they do actually go to at least brush their finger on Deku's head as a way to get his attention. Now, the moment this immediately happened, Deku's eyes do shoot open, and there actually is where a faint glow does disappear from Deku's face or his eyes, and the person does somewhat step back. Now, they do apologize for breaking Deku out of his trance. Master, I'm sorry. I started meditating and I must have lost track of time. No, it's, well, interesting. Was he in the Avatar state? That's quite... Young man, were you... Huh? Sorry, I was speaking to an avatar about her... Well, I was speaking to an avatar about airbending. And, well, I did actually talk to Aang. Avatar Aang? Yes. The air scooter technique that I've heard about. The one he does have, I've learned that. It's actually a really fun technique, but there's other ones he's taught me. Or at least I've seen through his eyes. I see. Well now, would you please come to attend our class? Yes. Now, Deku just quickly go to stand. As there actually is where his joints, they do feel somewhat a little bit stiff. And Deku does pause for a second to start actually stretching. The air nomad turning their head to see Deku. As Deku, he does quickly start to walk forwards a little bit faster this time. Now, Deku, he does find to be quite nice here. These people, they do have a very interesting lifestyle. He does miss cartoons, cereal, milk, all the childish stuff, even some of his old toys. But from what he's been taught by the White Lotus, learned from his parents, and even from the old firebending masters, he has a lot of responsibility as the Avatar. In fact, if he's here now, that means that something's supposed to come up in his life. Every Avatar has had their challenges. Kyoshi, she had Kang the Conqueror. And, well, there's this one avatar who had to go against a face stealer, an actual living spirit. And there's even Korra. She was the avatar a long time ago, and she faced off against a threat that it's just nearly destroyed Republic City. The thing Avatar Aang spent so much to build. And then there was the previous Avatar before him. Their challenge was, well, it was bad. It wasn't really too good. But he survived. He made it through, right? Now, with that being said, we do actually have our Deku. He does join the rest of the class, as they all do start to go through the day's training. And we actually have later that day where Deku, he actually is trying to practice his airbending. Now, Deku, he's actually doing somewhat good, as he's going through the motions and at least practicing them before he does actually start to add air into his bending. Now, Deku, he does actually perform very well, and they do see that he's actually more calm. Firebending probably wasn't the best place to start him at, but it was actually quite interesting. Whenever they did that, him being a born firebender, a prodigy in that art, it does have to do with similar techniques, and they can tell that Deku he's applying Fire Nation techniques to their, well, Air Nation techniques, some of which do actually produce some stronger winds and have similar footing and stances. It's quite ironic. The people who nearly wiped them out, almost 500 years ago, would actually be the very same people they could practice and share techniques with. It's gotta be some sort of poetic justice, or even, if you do want to put it in a way, interesting to them. The differences they did share, but the similarities they do have. It's its own little form of beauty. Now, Deku, he does actually start to complete his airbending training closer to the age of 10 years old. And that is where Deku, he does actually keep it at. He does mash the techniques, or at least get to the 30 before he does face off against an airbending master. And once he does do that, the two actually do face off in combat, as it was quite interesting. They're about to watch the air nomad who trained the Avatar fight the Avatar. And there is even Deku. He does just sit there, with a shaved head and in an actual stance. As the air nomad, he does wait. And Deku, he does wait as well. There's the problem here. The air nomad style. It's based purely around defense. The air nomads, they're pacifist. Their ways aren't made to be used in combat, but the way you can use them is just, well, you know, a gust of air into someone's chest. That's really all they do have. Now, the air nomad actually does go a step forwards, sending a gust of wind at Deku. Since they were both sitting there, and Deku, he didn't want to immediately go for an attack. And the master, it did respect the student, as they did just start the match, since if they didn't, they'd be waiting there all day. Now, this was where Deku, he does go to actually counter with his own blast of air, as he does go to actually swing his body and go light on his footwork, as he does swing his body around and directly go to move. Before Deku, he does spin and then go to blast some air directly through his palm, as Deku does go to bring up his other hand and send a large swiping gust towards his master. Now, the master and student battle. It does go on in rage, as everyone can see it. Now, it's actually a very interesting battle to everyone. The winds blow hard. However, not even a single drop of blood is spilt. The young boy, he's, well, focused. You can tell from the look on his face, his expression, his demeanor completely changed. There's his movement, his footwork. He's truly become an air nomad. He's even become light on his feet. Now, it was quite amazing. Deku's almost facing off on par with the Master. People do know that he is holding back. However, can he pass the test? Now, there actually is where the Air Nomad Master, he does go to actually misstep. And he does go to send out a gust of wind, as Deku he does see an opening. Deku immediately going to throw out his fist to go and send out a gust of wind. However, as he does go to do that, he actually does go to twist his hand and readjust, as Deku does quickly go to fire it off in the wrong direction. Now, as it does happen, you actually with the Air Nomad, he does go to fall. Before Deku, he does quickly run over. Now, this is where the Air Nomad, he does go to start getting back up. As Deku, he does bend down and go to reach out a hand. Ask him if he's hurt. Young man, you've passed. Master, what are you talking about? You passed. An enemy who turns a back to you is no longer your enemy. That is a good learned lesson. Along with that, you were even kind enough to help up someone you saw as a threat. Truly, you hold no anger, no malice. Master, I don't understand. I didn't want to win like that. It just didn't seem right. Yes, that's it. Young man, that is called discipline. You are very good. However, you still do need to master a few other techniques. Then you may gain your tattoos. We believe that it will be crucial for you. Yes, master. Do I really have to get tattoos when I'm older? That sounds painful. The arrows? Oh, God. Young man, we are merely joking. That tattoos are not a requirement. They are a symbol of strength, however, if you are to gain enough mastery and create the 30 skills, or master 30 skills and techniques. Now, this is where the Air Nomad, he does actually go to bring up his hand and bow to Deku, informing that he does wish the Avatar luck on his journey. Now, we do currently have within Deku, where Rava and Vatu, both of them, they're still actually waiting. Rava, she does want to reach out and speak with Deku. She's even had some previous avatars act as a bit of a buffer. They have been alerted as to what to do. Please try to guide him. Be patient with him. Do what you can. And there is actually Vatu, who he's tried even using a few of his little pawns. Some people who he believed would be powerful enough with the ability to bend. And there is this one pawn in particular that does seem to be the best. The Dark Avatar. Well, the first one. The man is a smooth talker, and even then, he's evil. Now, with that being said, it is quite interesting. As Deku, he does head off for his next element, as he does go to master water next. Now, with that being said, we do currently have where Deku, he is standing out in the cold, as he even does look around. Now, we do actually have Deku's mother, who she is very, very annoyed, and she doesn't like the cold. As Deku, he does just stand there. He's staying there in regular clothes. And then Koshi's very worried about her son, telling him to put on a jacket. However, Deku, he does explain to her. Using different forms of bending, he's learned by the air nomads to become resistant to cold, or at least not be bothered by it. And even then, the firebenders do have a similar trick. In fact, the firebenders base this trick off of the air nomads' breathing techniques. It's how they keep warmth all throughout their body, even in the coldest environments. Now, Inko, she does just stare at Deku. He's got to be messing with her. However, she does actually go to reach out and go to put her hand on one of his cheeks. He feels warm. He doesn't even feel cold at all. Now, there is one for Deku. He does arrive in this town, and many people they do look at him. As Deku, he's around the age of 11 years old now. And he's just wondering, with all of the stuff he's seeing around here, the ice under his feet, the buildings that are all around here, this place is insane. Where are they? The North Pole? The South Pole even? It's just, there's so much ice everywhere. It's crazy. Now, we actually do have where Deku, he does head to a place and go to meet with, well, waterbending masters. And Deku, he does actually sit down with some of the men, as they're introduced to Avatar Izuku. Now, the men are all quite skeptical, as Deku, he does look around. He does see a few bending or airbending masters who are all male. However, there's at least one or two female airbending masters. And this does catch Deku's attention and catch him off guard. Two of these people here, one of them is a younger looking woman, probably around the age of his mother, and the other one's gotta be at least 70, maybe 60 years old. They're very gray, and there's not really any color left in her hair. Along with that, she does at least have wrinkles in her face. Now, Deku, he was actually quite surprised meeting all of them, as they did actually want to learn more about this avatar. Apparently, he is a firebender, and they do wonder about this, as an airbending master does take Deku outside and try to teach him exactly what he does need to do. Try and get him started on the basics. As Deku, he does just somewhat stand there in an area where there's actually a basin of water. And the airbending master has instructed Deku that for his test, he will have to bend the water from this bucket into this bucket over here. And Deku, he was just, oh, okay, as he did go to take up a stance. Now, the master, he actually is going to bring up his own stance, telling Deku that he does need to do this with his arms. He needs to do this with his feet. He needs to do this with his hips. He also needs to at least make sure his hands are positioned in this way. As the man, he does start to at least go to bend his knees down a bit and go down a little bit more, before he does just at least start to wave his hands out in front of him and keep them at least in a constant motion, back and forth. Now, Deku, he does start to at least try to follow that, as he does actually try. However, there's no progress. And Deku, he does keep at this for at least another 2 minutes. He doesn't understand. This being where he actually does go to try and reach out and forcefully just bend the water, with no technique. Now, Deku, he did start to get a bit angry. Why? He can bend every other element. He's Well, he's been able to do Earth before. He floated a rock once, but that was it. But this? Come on, bend, bend, bend. Do what I say. Let me what Deku he does think, as he almost forces himself into the Avatar state. Now, you do actually wear Deku's eyes, they do go to shine, as somebody they do at least appear directly in front of him. Now, there is Korra and the evil Avatar. I forgot his name already again. It's been almost a year. Now, both these two are both standing in front of the water basin, as Korra is trying to instruct Deku about what to do. She herself was a waterbender, or born into the water tribe. And the other guy, he does explain that he was as well. In fact, they're actually within his home village. And that he does at least want to tell Deku a few more things. If he's having so much trouble with water bending, then he would have a lot more blood bending. Now, Deku's confused at that statement. Blood bending? What's that? Oh, it's quite simple. It's where you can bend somebody to your will, move their body and stop their movements entirely. In fact, it's a lot harder than regular bending. Quite rare. I learned how to, blood bend under a full moon. However, gradually I was able to stop, doing it any time I wanted. The reason why it's so much more difficult is because you're only dealing with something that's only 70% water. 70%? Yes, the other 30 is what? I don't know. It's not water. That's all I can tell you. However, you do just need to listen to what I say. If you do that, I can teach you water bending, instead of this sorry excuse for an avatar. Now, the people who are watching Deku from the front porch of a Water Tribe house, they're actually kind of intrigued. They're just wondering, what's he doing? He's not doing anything, he's just standing there with his hands up. Now, Deku, he does have a conversation with these two avatars, as eventually they do disappear, and Deku does go to walk back over and sit down on the porch, looking down at his hands. No. Deku, he didn't like that. He's always been able to bend. He gives it a shot before and he's able to do it. But why water? Water's easy. He drinks it. He bathes in it. Well, it's all around him right now. Solid, liquid, in the air, everything. Why can't he bend it? That doesn't make sense. And then there's that other thing. Excuse me, master? Yes, Suzuku. What is it? I had a question. What is it? What's bloodbending? Now, everybody they do go to freeze at that statement. Those two words are a grave taboo. Bloodbending. Now, with that being said, we actually will cut it here, as I do hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.